welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. Today's guest is Mathieu. He is the CEO and Director of the Birmingham Airport Authority.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, Ron.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you said it just right.
I can't believe it. We usually rehearse that before I say it. I didn't in this instance. I'm glad you're here today. I know people are always interested in our airport. I happen to have the fortuity of being on the Airport Authority board myself, so we met that way. Yes, and it's fascinating work that goes on out there that people aren't aware of, I don't think. And what I hope to do today is, one, introduce you to the community, and two, to explain what it is goes on behind the scenes that people don't pay any attention to. So how'd you end up here, of all things?
Well, it was a very interesting route. You know, it's interesting. We came to Birmingham. We love Birmingham, and so I like to say I'm not from Birmingham, but I got here just as fast as I could. But you know, I was born in Haiti.
A lot of people don't agree with you on that.
Well, they haven't been around as much as I have. Maybe
it's a nice place.
Maybe. I was born in Haiti, and we came through JFK on my 5th birthday. That's when I fell in love with airplanes and airports. And I grew up in New York. I went through elementary, middle school, high school in New York. Then I decided I wanted to be a pilot, wanted to fly, and I went to Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne, Florida. From there, I went home. I worked at JFK. I worked at LaGuardia. I looked at Newark. I worked at Teterboro Airport. I was there for the '93 bombing of the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow.
And in '96, I left the Port Authority, and I went into the private sector because my wife's company, she was a reinsurance intermediary, made her an incredible offer to become a partner, but they wanted her to run the practice in Tampa. So I used to have a sign that said, "Someday my ship will come in, and with my luck, I'll be at the airport." and I took that to heart. So I was in Tampa, was a consultant for about 7 years.
Oh, really?
And after 9/11, we decided that I was going to get back into the business. So that's when I went to Fort Lauderdale. So I spent about 4.5, 5 years in Fort Lauderdale.
At the airport?
At the airport. I was when I went there, I was duty manager. I very quickly became in charge of security and helped us do all of the 9/11 transitions.
Wow.
And then I went from there to director of operations. And from there, I became deputy director of the airport. And that's when I left, because I wanted a better community to raise our children. So we ended up in Little Rock, of all places. We turned down.
I've been to that airport.
We turned down Las Vegas. We turned down Houston, and we went to Little Rock. And Little Rock felt the way Tampa did, but maybe 10 years before we got there, when we first went in 2006. And I spent about 15 years in Little Rock, and we did a lot of great things at the airport. Went debt-free, rebuilt the terminal, just a whole series of things that we did.
But I do know that everything there is named after one of the Clintons.
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, it's actually it's an interesting story, because we went to change the name of the airport. I was there for that. I was right in the middle of it. And when we went to President Clinton, we said, "We'd like to name the airport after you." He said, "Only if you name it after Hillary as well." So that's why it's the Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport.
He was feeling guilty.
They're interesting people. I've enjoyed meeting and talking to them.
I make little jokes.
Yeah, I enjoy talking to them. And you know, you get to a point where you've kind of done everything that needs to be done. You have to wait for the airport to grow, and or the community to grow. And I didn't want to get bored. Mm-hmm. So my wife always had her eye on Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And so when the opportunity came up, you know, we put in for it, and I was fortunate to be able to get the position. I've been here 3.5 years now.
You like it?
So I love it. I love it. And one of the neat things is I have the opportunity to take everything I've learned in all of these other airports and apply them here, apply for best practices here. And that's why we've made a number of the changes that we've made so far. As you know, the first thing we did is we structured our finances. And so we went from $16 million a year in debt service to $5 million for the first 2 years. And then we went to $10 million a year from thereafter. So we will be debt-free if we stay on track at the 100th anniversary of the airport in just under 10 years.
Well, I think just a good question for people to know the answer to is, where does the revenue come from that retires that debt?
Well, airports are different. We are quasi-governmental. So what that means is we don't get tax dollars for the operation of the airport, with one exception, and that was during the recent pandemic, where the federal government did give us money for payroll protection and so forth. So, but we have to earn the money. We have to make the money. We don't get tax dollars to operate the airport. So we get it from parking, we get it from the airlines, we get it from concessions and rental cars and all other operations on the airport. We run a business and we have to be profitable by law.
And the idea is to take in more than you put out.
That's the idea.
And of course, that number will get bigger when the debt is retired.
That's correct. That's the whole idea behind it.
And the debt is brought about because you're required through some federal regulations, I'm sure, to keep certain things up to snuff.
Yes and no. The primary debt we have now is from the reconstruction of the terminal just over 10 years ago. So that was about $150 million in debt that was issued. So that's the debt we're looking to retire because we have so much of our resources tied into it. We've already decreased it by a third, which has been huge for us in order to restore all the air service that we had prior to the pandemic. So that's a $5-6 million reduction in cost for the airlines.
Well, we're going to talk about pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, the dynamics and all that when we come back from break. So I hope you're still sitting here. Don't go away. We'll be right back. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. I'm talking with Ron Mathieu, the Executive Director, CEO of the Birmingham Airport Authority. We've talked about income, debt service. I think we need to at least explore what have we done out there pre-COVID, post-COVID, kind of give us the landscape of the way things got, where they were, where they got, and where they are now.
Right.
How about that?
No, that's great. Pre-COVID, we were about 1.9 million enplanements. When we look at passenger volume, we look at enplanements, which is called departing passengers. Enplanements, or putting people into planes, enplanements. So we have enplanements and deplanements. So the two added together comes up with your total passengers. But everything we do in the business is about departing passengers, people who are coming into the airport to get on flights to go. So we were about 1.8, almost 1.9 million departing passengers
Coming through the
year,
front
coming
door.
through the front door. So that's about 4 million in and out, thereabouts, okay? And during COVID, we had basically gone down to nearly nothing. There were certain months that we had 2,000 people going through the terminal. We had days where we had 0 people going through the terminal. So it was a shock to the system.
So no enplanements.
Correct. We had
No
certain days.
revenue.
Correct. So if no one comes to the airport, then they don't park. They don't rent a car. They don't buy something for the concessions.
And the airline
And
doesn't
the airlines
pay.
are not making money. And so therefore, we're not making money. So one of the things that we're most proud of is that we went through every bit of expense that we had. And my focus was to eliminate things and not people. So we put on a hiring freeze. We put on an expense freeze. I eliminated redundant contracts. Everyone took a little bit of a haircut, but we never laid off any of our own employees. People left through attrition, they retired, they went and got other positions, and unfortunately we had 1 or 2 people who passed away during COVID. Those positions were not refilled unless they were critical to the success of the airport. And that's really the spark, if you will, that really made us get deep down into the organization, look at everything that we were doing, and then determining how we're going to survive COVID. I did have a list of people that if things got worse, that we would release. And fortunately, we had gotten the CARES Act money to protect the paychecks, and so we did not have to do that.
Where are we
close.
now? with
Right now, we're
unplanned-
doing great. We actually have come out of COVID with more money than we had going into COVID. So, which is kind of, it seems counterintuitive, but when we reduced all our expenses, we reduced headcount by almost 100 employees through attrition. We restructured our finances. We eliminated $6 million a year in debt service. And we've done a new deal with the airlines where we don't share our revenue with the airlines anymore. So we've done a lot of those things, and that has resulted in more money coming to the airport. Because what people don't understand about the airport, the natural question, well, what do you do with this money? Well, we put people to work. We hire contractors, we get work done, we buy things. Our role is to be an economic generator for the community. So when we spend money locally, it's to the benefit of the community. That's what we do. The local business community, the people who are flying at the airport, the people who work for rental cars, they work for airlines, they work for cargo facilities, all of those entities ultimately benefit from the work that we do at the airport.
Are we back up close to 1.8 million?
We're about 1.6, 1.7 right now, but we came back really fast.
Well, you made a point that made me think of something. When you say share revenue with the airlines, would that explain what people complain about to me as both a board member and that I complain about publicly is we can't get nonstop flights from A to B, like New Orleans, for example?
No, not really. The sharing of the revenue is a methodology where we try to reduce the cost to the airlines if your costs are out of whack. So when we had $16 million in debt service, we were a little bit out of whack. And so we would share the cost with the airlines, the revenue with the airlines to reduce their overall cost. But
share the revenue from the rentals, from the vendors, from the whatever.
The parking.
So we paid money to the airline.
Correct.
We don't do that anymore.
We do not. In addition to that, if we spent less than what we budgeted with the airline, we would give them a check at the end of the year. We don't do that anymore either. We roll it into the next year's operation. So, and we were very good about not spending all the money. So that's the financial side. The having flights to specific destinations is really all about the number of people that you can get on the flight. So I'll give you one, for instance, that I happen to know off the top of my head. Los Angeles. There is an effort to get a flight to Los Angeles. But we have something that we look at irrespective of how the person gets there from here to Los Angeles, what airline, how many times they connect. They're counted. It's called a PDU, passengers daily each way. And when you only have, when this area is only generating 60 passengers a day to and from, you can't fill a 140-seat aircraft.
So you're able to tell who wants to go to Los Angeles by looking at data that shows that they're going to Los Angeles via some other place, whether it be Atlanta or Dallas or something.
Right, it's always in arrears. It's data that the airlines are required to provide to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And when we get that data, we hire a company that manages that data for us, and then we know how many people have left this airport and gone to LA, gone to New Orleans, and gone to a number of different destinations. Then we talk to the airlines.
All right, when we come back from break, I'm gonna ask you a real fact-specific question, and it relates to New Orleans. So don't leave me.
No worries.
Because that's the biggest complaint. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Don't go away, we'll be right back, and we're gonna try to get you a flight to New Orleans. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're talking with Ron Mathieu about our airport, and I've got this pet peeve, and I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to quit. So it seems to me, how can you determine how many people would ordinarily be flying from Birmingham to New Orleans, which was a flight that was packed every time I was on it, if now, in order to get to New Orleans, it takes longer to fly than it does to drive. So you're not going to have a stat that says this many people are trying to get to New Orleans.
Okay, so we have enough people to go from this community to New Orleans on a flight.
I agree.
The problem that we have is New Orleans is a fly-drive destination. So there are a lot of people who drive because they consider it to be cheaper, because when you get there, you don't have to rent a car to run around town. And that's the issue. We're competing with people in their vehicles. At the end of the day.
Maybe pre-Uber. Yeah. I don't know.
So we have a board member who drives to New Orleans frequently because they have family there. It's just easy. I was talking to that board member when they were on the trip one time, and they said they can basically do it in their sleep now. And we have a lot of people that do that. But hope is not lost, because we are talking to 2 different airlines, and they are looking at the stats. And we will work with them on a campaign, if they agree to fly to New Orleans, on a campaign to help get people out of their vehicles and into airplanes.
I think that's doable personally.
So there's a challenge. The challenge, I got to get people out of vehicles and put them in airplanes.
I'm out.
The price,
I'm out of the car.
The price has to be really, really attractive, and the service has to be really good. So that's the issue that we're having. We're looking at 2 ultra low-cost carriers. We're looking at 1 regular carrier, and we're looking at New Orleans right now. Unfortunately, I can't say who they are, because they always say if they hear it out there, then they'll deny it and they'll never do it.
Yeah.
But we've heard the call.
Okay.
And we're working on it.
I'm calling. I'm screaming. Now, on a positive side of things, there are tremendous improvements at our airport. Yes. And one of the things that fascinated me was just a few weeks ago, we brought in a program with canines.
Correct.
Tell viewers about that. Sure. It's fascinating.
We have a program at the airport called TSC, and that's Traveler Loving Canine. We have about 6 or 7, and it's growing every day.
Yes, so if you have an animal that you think will pass muster, you can go online and apply for it's a voluntary position, but your animal can participate in this program.
Right.
But you have to come with it.
Yeah, but they're at the airport almost every day. Passengers go, they pet the dogs. People's stress level, it immediately goes down when they see an animal and it rolls on its back and it rubs its belly. It's got a little jacket that says "Pet Me" on it. The children love it. And by that, I don't necessarily mean the ones that are young in age. I mean sometimes really big adult children who have pets themselves. And we've agreed not to publish those pictures. We got pictures of people rolling on the floor with the dogs. So what does that mean? It means their stress level has gone down at the airport, and traveling is a much more positive experience. So it's a great program. We're going to continue that program. We've also done physical improvements, as you know. One of my pet peeves when at any airport is people sitting on the floor plugging in so that they can charge their phone or iPad or laptop, as the case may be. That's done. Every seat at the airport has power attached to it. So we're one of 2 or 3 airports that actually have that. That was one of my goals when I got here. We brought in new cleaning companies, and the floors are immaculate. The bathrooms, I've gone from having complaints to compliments in the bathroom. Thank you for that. By the way, we're never tired of compliments, but if we're doing something wrong, we want to know about it, because I can't be at the airport 24 hours. So when I get something, I look into it. As you know, you sent me something, I look into it right away, and we correct it. So,
and we just recently put in place a fire and rescue facility.
We did.
Pretty state of the art, I've been told.
It absolutely is. We have a new ARF building, Aircraft Rescue Firefighting.
It should be
facility.
The dog program, actually.
Yeah, we have 2 brand new vehicles. One of them is just over $800,000. The other one's just over $500,000. That's in the station. They'll take occupancy really soon. We've also put in a distributed antenna system, so the cell phone issues we had because of the metal in the building, gone. we've turned the building and the garage into a cell site. So that works well. We've improved the Wi-Fi in the building as well. Because here's what happens. People go to the facility and they just naturally assume and conclude that it should work, just like when you turn on the light. So when you go and it doesn't turn on, that's a problem for them. But when you go and everything works and it's
Seamless.
fast and so forth, it's seamless, this is how it should be. So these are the things that we're identifying. People feel good about it, but here's the key. When they go somewhere else and it doesn't work that way, what do they say? You know, I really like my airport back home because we don't have these issues. And that's kind of the goal, because we want them to fly out of Birmingham and not any other airport.
Well, it looks great. By the way, this fire truck has a hose pipe that can penetrate the exterior of an airplane and put out a fire inside the airplane.
That's correct. It has an arm that goes up. They have infrared vision, and they can see where the hot spot is in the airplane. They will penetrate the skin, lay out a curtain of foam, and put it out, because you can't open that door. Because if you open that door and there's a fire, there's a backdraft. So we have all the tools, the training, the personnel, and the equipment that we need to do everything humanly possible to protect people that come and fly in and out of the airport.
And it's not just that it's there waiting on a catastrophe. It can be called into service around town if need be.
Yeah, in the immediate areas around the airport, it can be done. But typically, though, it's for the airport. But these guys, they train every day. They're out there every day. You know, our goal is to train them to the tip of perfection and then push them further. So I have the ability, Jim and Cam, as you know, have the ability to go out there on any given day, at any given night, get on the frequency and call a mock drill, because we need to be ready at all times.
We've got a great staff.
We do. We have an outstanding staff.
Outstanding. Well, there's a lot that goes on with operating an airport, as you can tell, but we do appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and just cracking the door on some of the things that we offer out there at the airport and things that are going on behind the scenes. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us this week. We'll see you next Sunday.